Support for this episode of PBS Reno Arts is provided by the Nevada Arts Council. Arts and creativity make us stronger, fueling innovation, prosperity, and thriving communities across Nevada. They boost our economy, promote well-being, and enhance education, empowering Nevadans of all ages. The Nevada Arts Council nurtures these essential creative forces. Together, let's elevate the arts in every corner of our great state. More at nvartscouncil.org.
This is PBS Reno Arts. I'm Dave Santina in the studio of PBS Reno in Reno, Nevada. And those of you who've been around a long time in this area probably remember the old showrooms and their stages and the cabaret dancers like the Mapes and Harrah's and the Riverside and the Flamingo and you name it. And there is one person keeping this cabaret style alive, and she is here with me today. This is Marla Paulina, Paulina Productions. Thank you for coming and joining me.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to talk about this with you.
This is really exciting. So you have a new show coming. I first saw your work, I think, a couple years ago at one. It's roughly once a year. You had a show in the last few years, and so I got to go and see the cabaret style, or the different sort of old school traditional sort of style dance, and it's fun, and you bring a new sort of tone to it, a new style to mix in with the classic, and I think that just thought it would be great to talk about it and promote. Honestly, a little promotion doesn't hurt. Your new show.
Absolutely.
So it's coming up, and I'm excited for it. Velvet Moon, right?
Velvet Moon.
Tell me all about it.
Well, the tag is a cosmic love spell of song and dance.
Nice.
And it was really inspired by bringing together some of the OGs of Reno, the singers and dancers and incredibly talented local acrobats that I know, together, kind of out of retirement, to put on a new show. And this is our first all-ages show. It's got a lot of jazz, cabaret type choreography in it, some incredible singers.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
To bring back some classic people. See, I didn't realize that I thought it was an homage, but I didn't realize you're actually working with people who have done this for years in the past. That's fantastic.
For most of their life, yeah. I would say the cast is mostly in their 40s and 50s and has been doing this forever.
That's incredible. Yeah. Oh, I love it. So were they all from this area? Were they all performing here in the past? Would some of us who have been to shows years gone by recognize some faces?
Yes. Some are very, very local and have been here a long time, or came to Reno to be in shows and ended up staying. And then others, moved here from Vegas or other spots to continue performing or their professional life in Reno.
I love it. I love it. Well, your tagline, I guess I'll call it, on your online says that you strive to bring more beauty to the world through song, dance, burlesque, live music, aerials, and unique specialty acts. That's a lot. So what can people expect to see in your show?
Well, all of our shows are a little different. We started in this little dive bar in 2021. We had some burlesque, some musicians. And it's kind of evolved from there and gotten bigger and bigger each year. Sometimes I have aerialist. Usually I have burlesque. That's not a component of this year's show. It's going to be like just classic cabaret, showgirl, Vegas show type vibes. And then we're bringing in this incredible hand balancing duo who's going to do some incredible acrobatics. They're like world class.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's exciting. Where do you find these people?
I know. I feel so lucky. I guess I'm just very connected in the entertainment world, doing this for 20 years. And I've met some incredible people throughout my history here that I've stayed friends with or still in touch with. And I'm like, hey, you want to do this again? And, put something new on. And a lot of them, it was just a timing thing. It's like all the people I wanted to be involved somehow were all available, and the venue came in, and it just all sort of synced up. And I was like, okay, I think I want to do this.
I love it. So the venue you mentioned, it's the Alpine, right?
Yes.
The Alpine on East 4th Street in Reno. And that show starts on June 25th.
That's our opening night.
Okay. And then how often after that?
So we have 5 dates. There's select Wednesdays through July running through Art Town, and we will likely continue and extend the run through August on Wednesdays.
That's great. So the better the show, the early shows do, the more likelihood of an extension, I imagine.
Correct, yeah.
So if you're listening to this, go get a ticket and get out and watch the show, because I have seen some of your earlier shows, and the burlesque show was one, and they are so much fun, and the variety of music and performance it's really impressive. It's a lot of work. I can only imagine what goes into this. I mean, it's what we're recording this on June 10th. It's going to be audible for people on next Monday, which is the 16th, and then 9 days later, the show starts. So you are in the middle of probably heavy rehearsals, I imagine.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. From conception to like closing night, it's like almost a year process of starting to work out the show and the music and the choreography, and then actually getting into the rehearsals that take, a few months. And now it's kind of crunch time, and we're getting into the venue for the first time this evening to do all the blocking and work with the AV team and the lighting and the sound. And there's visuals this year. So we have a giant screen on stage that we're utilizing. There's going to be some really cool imagery synced into the show. So that's going to be an exciting and new component that we haven't used before.
Ooh, that sounds scary to me because the timing has to be perfect, right?
It really does. It's like syncing up so many little details, and every second is accounted for in a show like this. Costume changes, quick changes, and timing out when the blackout happens and when the prop changes are, put on and taken off. And it's a lot.
Yeah, I guess. So what I read was you're calling it cabaret noir. Is that right?
Yeah, I liked that because we are like the old classic cabaret variety show, and we very much are trying to incorporate and revive that old Hollywood type vibe. But there's more modern music selections and different costuming, and just it's got that modern twist as well.
So when you think, I'm thinking about is the performances. If I come to the show, does this show consist of individual performances? Is there a storyline through it? How do you present it to an audience?
So none of the shows are like a play or follow a specific storyline, but all of my shows have been themed around the moon. And so we incorporate that into the music selections. This year has like a slight angle towards love songs, and the opening kind of is like very witchy and spell and cosmic love spell. That's where that came in from. So yeah, I think with the visuals and the song choices, it all just kind of ties together into a loose theme. So we can still kind of pick the tracks that we want and not have to be too rigid about the story.
Yeah, good. Well, I have to say, for those of you who are thinking about coming or haven't decided yet, I'm just going to say come out for one reason and one reason only, and that is if you are a walker or a runner, you can make a great playlist just by Shazamming the music during one of these Paulina Productions shows, because I have a playlist full of stuff that I stole.
That's awesome.
After going to your show.
That's awesome.
I went home like, that music was killer.
Yeah.
I got to go and buy all of it. So I
got a lot of comments like that.
I bought a bunch of music and just made a running playlist, and I'll just go, and it drives me. And most of it came from just being at shows.
That's
because
awesome.
It's incredible. And if you ever need to know what's good running music, watch the dancers in a Paulina Productions show, and the energy that they put into it is pretty much was the same as what you're going to put into full running. It's a lot of work and physical. How do you prepare? I mean, you were a dancer for a long time before you were a choreographer, an impresario. We're going to call you an impresario because that's what you are. You are a dance impresario, putting on these shows. What's the pathway that you took? You said you danced for 20 years. You don't look old enough to have danced for childhood, but you must have started early.
Oh yeah, I started when I was 3, like most dancers that dedicate their life to something like this. But I grew up doing jazz, tap, ballet, and hip hop, and really all the dance styles. But I focused on that. I had an incredible teacher who came from an acrobatic background, and she was very strict, and she's still teaching.
Wow.
Here in Reno.
All right.
And she's produced some incredible dancers that have gone on to be in the Boston Ballet. And her daughter was in Cirque du Soleil and toured with Usher and was on Ellen DeGeneres. And she has some amazing students. And I feel really blessed. Yeah. Ava Kerr.
There you go.
Yep. So I just was really lucky with the background that I had, and I felt very well-rounded, and that grew into competitive dance. And in college, I did the dance minor just because it was available, but after college, I really started auditioning for shows all around town. And I mean, I was working as a showgirl at 16 in the casinos from a lady in town who bought out the largest private collection of costumes from Hello Hollywood Hello.
I know that lady.
Karen Burns.
Karen Burns, yeah. I've seen her. We've done shows in the past with her. So yeah, I remember her well.
Yeah. So it just evolved from there. And I've gone to India and taken dance jobs all over the world, and Atlantic City and Niagara Falls and Hollywood. Wow. And I've done most of the casinos here in town in some way or another, a lot in Sammy Davis Showroom, which is a classic.
Wow.
And Harrah's, their outdoor plaza. I think I've been in some of the Tina Turner tributes there. A burlesque show at Mont Bleu, which is now Bali's. I've done magic shows at GSR and Nugget and Sands, and traveled with some comedian magicians doing that. I've done musicals. I think Aladdin at the El Dorado was one of the first ones. They hired local talent and didn't outsource other dancers from out of town. And yeah, I just got I kind of caught this, what I say, the last window of these cabaret casino shows for about 10 years. I got really lucky.
I don't think of them existing now,
right?
Except what you bring back, right? You're kind of the lifeline, and you're the sort of like this conduit to this history, and you do it with reverence for the past, but you make it modern. The music is certainly not what you would have danced to 20 years ago.
Exactly. And we do have some classic music, but most of it's pretty modernized. Like the show you saw last year, we had a female DJ and it was electronic music.
Yes.
There's always a little different theme. We do have some of the classic songs in this show as well as modern songs incorporated in.
Good. That's something to look forward to the combination. I want to ask you about the acro performers. Mm-hmm. What can we expect from that?
It's pretty jaw-dropping, incredible stuff that they're doing. And the age that they're at, and they've just done this their whole life, and they're just masters. And it's just really cool to see them in action on stage. It's quite incredible.
So is that the hand show, or like
they do some hand balancing. And
I feel like I might have seen them before, and they're amazing. I don't know how I can't even. All right, full disclosure. Marla also teaches yoga, and I'm a student who barely could make it onto his own knees. We were doing a pose last week that was like on your hands, and you try to put your knees between your elbows and try to balance forward, and I could 1 second at a time I could do it. And then I think about people like this who just can carry each other up into the air and can make incredible poses and balances, and they look rock steady. And the amount of strength and flexibility that is required for this, it's an athletic feat that I think most people probably don't recognize in that way.
Oh yeah, all these people are total athletes, for sure.
It's incredible, and I am excited to see them again in this new show. So you also are a singer. So are you singing in this show?
I am. Yeah, I'll be singing and dancing in this show. Not as much as the full track and the cast is doing, but I have hired a lead singer who's going to be doing the majority of the singing, but I am performing in this one.
All right, nice. So what I remember reading was the love songs and dance sorcery collide. Mm-hmm. So are you singing love songs? Are you singing sorcery songs? What kind of songs are you looking at? Oh, really?
All of it. It's all around that theme, the moon, and we've got this spell intro opener, and it's really fun.
I look forward to that. All right, cool. And this show is, I saw on the Eventbrite site where people can buy tickets, the show is rated PG because it is an all ages show, but somebody had asked, if they could bring kids, and they said, yeah, think of it as a Vegas cabaret show. Exactly,
like something you'd see on a cruise ship. There will be like sexy costumes, but it's very dance forward and focused on the choreography and the vocals and the athleticism of the acrobats.
Yeah, and you can you can, I imagine, sort of tailor the type of dance to the show, to the audience you're working toward, right? So like the burlesque show might be a little different type of dancing versus an all ages show.
Of course, yeah. With burlesque, it is a different feel. And this year, we have much more technical dancing in the show.
Oh, okay. So can you describe for a layperson technical dancing versus
Yes.
another type?
So someone that's grown up doing classical ballet and that has that foundation and basis and technique that sometimes doesn't come with other styles of dance.
Gotcha. Okay. So if you learn to dance on the street, maybe not considered technical. If you learned in a studio with a teacher,
Right.
different type entirely. Got it. All right. So where do you find the dancers? Like I know that probably, or if you started back when there were still shows all the time, it would have been easier. But there aren't shows all the time. So
correct.
Where do you go?
So I've pulled from some old shows that I've done in the past and have worked with some of these people. Dina Hajakis and I were in Magique together at the El Dorado, which is still running here in town. It's a great show.
I have seen that show, and it is a great show. Yeah.
Yeah. Jennifer Orapreza was also in that show with us. I've brought them back. Eric Ventura was in my last show. We have a male dancer. And then there's a gal that I used to be on UNR and Bighorns dance team with way back in the day.
I remember
Sammy.
the Bighorns, yeah.
Yeah, she's doing it. Ashley and I have sang together. She's from Southlake. Jetta Cole is her vocal name.
Gotcha.
She's in the show. And then I did bring on this really young prodigy. Yeah, her name's Presley, and she's just absolutely incredible. She is going to flutter out of Reno after this and go do bigger things, but it's really cool to have her for the time I do.
Yeah, well, you get to say you helped shape and mold her into what she becomes.
Yes.
Yeah, you knew her when.
Give her some professional training.
That's cool. So what inspires the music that you choose? I mentioned that I made a playlist out of the last show because it was fantastic for me. But where do you go to find it? Does it come to you? Do you just pluck things out that you like, or do you go in search of it?
I do both. Some things just come to me and I'm like, oh, I have to use that from back in the day. And then other things I go on to Spotify and do some searching and create playlists and start to feel a vibe of the kind of numbers I want, and some more high energy and high BPM. We also have like a couple really strong ballads in the show. But just get a nice, diverse, eclectic arrangement of songs so it kind of peaks and has different tempos. And
you have a favorite piece in this show so far?
Oh, that's difficult.
It's still early, right? You don't know.
Yep. I would say either the opening number or the final number before finale is really good.
Okay. Should always say the final, because then anyone who's coming will make sure they have to wait until see your favorite.
Yeah.
At the end, no matter what.
Well, the second to last number is pretty spectacular. So
tell me about choreography. I know nothing about this, and I'm always fascinated by that. Does it come out of your mind? Is it something you can study and are there styles you can emulate and teach, or is it all just natural? Where does the choreography for your show come from?
That's a great question. I think that just because I've been doing this as long as I have since I was a child, it really is kind of ingrained in me, and it's something I've worked on and spent over 10,000 hours doing, but also something that has come naturally to me as a gift, and I just. Things come to me, and I'm a mover, and I've always liked putting together creative pieces and doing new things with choreography over the years.
So are you, when you prep a show, how do you write down, or how do you record your plan? Like, I don't have a clue about this. Like, do you write down choreography in order? Do you have to demonstrate it? How does that even work? This is as someone who doesn't live in that world at all. I'm curious.
Right. Well, the creative process is different for everyone, but for me, I start with music because I have to be inspired by the music, and then I start creating and blocking the ideas and concepts and everything that comes along with that in the studio and teaching the dancers 8 count by 8 count in front of the mirror to put things together.
Okay. Where do you get to rehearse? Do you have to rehearse do you rehearse in the same place? Do you have to go different places? I imagine some of these acts can't all rehearse in the same place, because if you've got the aerialists doing one thing in one place, they might need to be somewhere else.
Right. We started rehearsing at a nonprofit space in downtown Reno called Soltara, and we did a lot of our initial rehearsals there. And we also have access to this beautiful studio space inside Eagle Fitness in Northwest that we've been using, that's a little bit bigger and higher ceilings. And the venue, this week we'll be getting in there and actually getting on the stage, so that'll be nice.
Yeah. So can that pose some challenges when you're actually finally on the stage? Do you ever find out that the stage wasn't as big as you expected and now you have to make some adjustments?
Well, we try to block it off in rehearsals so we know kind of what we're working with, and the depth is going to be a thing this year. But we laid down some Marley on the stage last night, so it'd be better flooring for the dancers. And they've kind of secured the stage more for us, because typically they have bands and it's like a concert hall.
Got it.
So they had to like really stabilize everything. So, we can kind of jump around on there, and there's a tap number this year.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, that'll be all new for us today.
Wow. We should say Marley is the name of the surface, sort of a floor covering, right?
Yes, it's a special dance flooring.
Okay, makes you dance better.
It's helpful for shoes and all sorts of things.
Probably less slippery from a shiny hardwood floor.
Yep.
Yeah, that could be important. That could be very important. And the venue itself, the Alpine, is this common for them to do shows like this, or is this unusual?
No, this is very much specific to Art Town. Most of their stuff is live music. Okay,
so this is in conjunction with Art Town. Are you attached to them in any way officially?
No, I've done a couple shows not through Art Town, and a couple runs with Art Town, and listing them and using their resources, which is always so helpful.
Yeah.
It's just like extra eyes and that specific demographic of people that enjoy, going out to shows and performing arts and theater. And so it's really nice to partner up with them when the timing works out.
Yeah, and it's perfect this year because you start right before July and run through July. So it is part of Art Town regardless, because it's right in the middle of it. Mm-hmm. So that's perfect timing. So the first show is June 25th. That's a Wednesday. And is Wednesday the regular weekly show for the run of the show?
Yes, it's Wednesday nights, 7 p.m. Doors are at 6:30.
Okay, 6:30. And then is the Alpine, I'm trying to remember if the Alpine has... Do they have a bar there, food there? Are they in different rooms? Because I remember one show was at a different venue that had a bar in the entrance, and then in the back was the dance floor, and they were separated. Mm-hmm. Is it similar to that?
They're two buildings that are connected. So Lake Tahoe Ale Works, Reno.
I know it.
They own both.
Got it.
And they serve food, and you can have dinner ahead of time there, or even during the show. And then inside the actual venue, they've got a really long bar with a full bar of whatever you would like to drink. So they're going to offer drink and food specials to ticket holders that come in before and after the show.
Oh, an even greater incentive to buy a ticket. So
yes.
For people who want to get tickets, is it Eventbrite? Is that the only location, or is there any other place they can go?
It's the Eventbrite link. And you can just search for it, Velvet Moon, or the link is on all of our bios on social media at Paulina Productions.
Okay. And Paulina Productions is the handle on all your socials?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So look for Paulina Productions, and then I'll see you at the show, hopefully. Looking forward to it. This is, let me pull it again, Velvet Moon. Another moon-focused show. All right, yes. Velvet Moon, starting June 25th, running through July, and hopefully extended into August, if everybody shows up like they should.
Exactly.
Okay, beautiful. Well, thank you for coming and talking about it. I am looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been great.
Okay, so before we go, I want to remind everybody to watch Artifacts on PBS Reno via broadcast stream or pbsreno.org or on the PBS YouTube channel or the PBS app. Also, read art views at pbsreno.org. Now, do you have a question or maybe a comment or a suggestion? If so, send them to me at podcasts@pbsreno.org. I want to say thank you to Marla Paulina, and I want to thank you for listening to PBS Reno Arts.
Support for this episode of PBS Reno Arts is provided by the Nevada Arts Council. Arts and creativity make us stronger, fueling innovation, prosperity, and thriving communities across Nevada. They boost our economy, promote well-being, and enhance education, empowering Nevadans of all ages. The Nevada Arts Council nurtures these essential creative forces. Together, let's elevate the arts in every corner of our great state. More at nvartscouncil.org.